Hey folks, Sam from YOUCANIC here. We've got our 2016 Jeep Renegade. We're going to discuss reasons it may not start. Now, I get this call all the time, hey, my vehicle won't start. And my first question is, tell me what it's doing. The reason I'm asking that is I'm trying to break this into one of three categories. Those categories are, you turn the key on, absolutely nothing happens. No lights, no bells, no clicks, nothing. That second category is, you turn it on, the dash lights up, and maybe it gives you a click, or maybe it kind of turns over really slowly, sounds like it's whining at you. And then of course we have that third category, which the vehicle cranks just fine, the engine just won't fire. That happens too. So let's talk about that first category. So that first category is largely going to be battery related. If you're not getting any power to the dashboard, there is no electrical power getting through at all. You want to go ahead and take a quick look at your battery and see if you've got maybe a loose terminal or a severely corroded terminal, an excessive parasitic draw on the battery while the vehicle is off. Here's our battery under the hood on the driver's side. You'll notice we can't see our positive terminal, but we can see our negative terminal. Not to worry, pretty simple here. We're just going to depress these two tabs, and we're going to pick this plastic cover straight up. We can go ahead and set it off to the side. Now here I have the YOUCANIC battery starting and charging system tester, and this thing is pretty simple to use, so I'm going to demonstrate that here real quick. So take our positive terminal, or our positive cable, and hook it to our positive terminal. Take our negative cable, hook it to our negative terminal, and you see it automatically turns on. Now, in this case, we're not testing the whole starting and charging system. We just want to test the battery. It's great. It does have an option for that. We're using a 12-volt automotive system, so we'll go ahead and keep that selected and hit OK. It'll give us the option for a fast test or a standard test. The fast test is what we're looking for. Again, we're only looking to test this battery. So we'll hit OK. And now we need to enter our cold cranking amperage. Now, in some cases, it's going to be on this sticker underneath of your positive terminal. You may need to lift it up a little bit or remove it altogether to see that number. I've already retrieved that number. It's 615 cold cranking amps. Doing a little online research, that's about the minimum cold cranking amperage that is rated to go into this vehicle. I have seen them as high as 750. So we scroll down to 615 cold cranking amps. When we hit OK, it's going to run that battery through a quick test. And what do you know? It's showing us that we have 12.06 volts, which is actually well below where you want to be on a well-charged battery. And you can see it tells us the state of charge is about 25%. And it's showing state of health of 18%. So that's not good. My next step here would be to attempt to jumpstart the battery and see if it comes to life, and of course retest it once it does. Now let's move on to that second category. Now this one can go a few different directions. So your dash lights up and it makes a click, or it kind of whines a little bit. This one can go a few different directions. Now generally speaking, that's indicative of there's not enough voltage in your battery or enough charge in your battery to actually turn the starter fast enough to get it going. So there are a variety of ways to test and see if the battery is sufficient to get the vehicle going, and let's go ahead and discuss that now. And it's okay. If you don't have a scanner at home like I do, you can go by your local parts store. They should offer a free battery check for you, or any mechanic shop is going to have the ability to test your battery and determine if it's actually dead and needs to be replaced, or maybe it just needs a recharge. Now, if it just needs a recharge, a jump start will get you going. I'll discuss that in another video. Now, another condition that can be caused by this, by either a slow start or maybe just a click, you could have a starter going out. Now, this is something, there is a way to identify it. If you've identified that your battery is working the way it should, all the other systems are working the way they should, and it just will not turn over, congratulations, you've diagnosed a broken starter. It's time for it to go. I found that to be the most effective way to diagnose a starter. Obviously, you can test starters, see if they have excessive voltage draw, or see if they're flat out locked up, or if the solenoid in them is not engaging. There are ways to test that. Usually you'll hear a nice whirring or buzzing without the engine actually turning over if it's just the solenoid though. But if the starter's broken, on modern vehicles, I know for this one, there's not any starter rebuild kits like there were in the olden days. Just get a new starter. I highly recommend a new one. Remanufactured can save you some money, but a new starter is going to work more times than not. Now, let's talk about that third category. That third category, this thing starts and cranks, but nothing happens. Now, this can go down a few different roads, but I'll tell you how I was taught. In order for this engine to run, you need fuel, you need air, you need spark, and you gotta put them all in the right order to make this thing happen. So, let's start with fuel. Look at your fuel gauge. Is the fuel gauge really low? If it is, you could be starving the engine for fuel. Now, I know we've all been driving, and for a couple of decades now, we've all had those little indicators in the dashboard that tell us how many miles we have to empty. I would never go by that. Listen, you get to a quarter of a tank, put some gas in the vehicle. It'll save yourself a lot of headache. All right. Very often where I see this condition is that very reasoning has been used, and you get down to, say, teens or even single digits of miles remaining in your tank, which for some of your smaller four-cylinder vehicles like this one indicates you have significantly less than 1 gallon of fuel in the tank, and you park it on a driveway with a little bit of slope, or maybe you're street parking at a friend's house in the neighborhood and two wheels are up on the curb, but your vehicle's sitting maybe a little bit off level, just a bit, and your pickup in the tank just can't get fuel to the motor. That happens a lot. Now, if your vehicle's low on fuel, I highly advise you to add some fuel to the vehicle, attempt to start. If it won't start, then we'll move on to further diagnostic. Now, if you have fuel in it and it's cranking and won't start, it's usually accompanied by some warning lights in the dashboard. Everybody knows that famous check engine light, or the malfunction indicator lamp if you're like me. That's going to indicate some kind of failure in the system. It's not always going to accompany an engine that won't start, but very often it will. And I'll make plenty of future videos on how to diagnose your 2016 Jeep Renegade. Now, there is a condition that is fairly common. I won't say really common, but if you work in a mechanic shop, you'll see it all the time, where you probably won't get a check engine light, but the engine certainly won't start, and that is if the fuel pump in the back actually goes out. So inside of your tank is a tiny little fluid pump that actually sends the fuel up to the engine. And on all vehicles, it does not trigger a malfunction indicator lamp, but it will cause a condition just as though you're out of fuel. Now, we'll discuss in a future video on how to determine if your fuel pump is out, but there's some things you can do to kind of prevent that. Remember we talked about not letting that tank get particularly low? One of the worst things you can do to a fuel pump is to let the fuel level get excessively low. Okay? The fuel in that tank is not just the fluid that runs your vehicle, it also happens to be the fluid that cools and lubricates the fuel pump in the back. So when you run it dry, you are causing excessive wear and tear to that pump in the tank. It can also allow a lot of the particulate that over the years can build up in the tank, can allow it to be brought to the fuel pickup, and it can cause damage to the fuel pump as well. So I hope you found this informative, and I'll see you next time.